BMAX Audio Adventure. My name's Brandon, and this is BJJ365. I wish I had a cool radio voice, but I don't. Unless you love rednecks, in which case I've got the coolest radio voice. So, just stew on that for a minute. A lot of people on Instagram, especially Instagram, Brandon, tell us some stories about your early training, like the old days. Well, I don't really have any stories about the old days, like growing up at HQ, growing up around all the Brazilians, growing up or coming up in the early belts with Eddie standing over me, yelling at me. I don't have those because I kind of came up in Decatur, Alabama. I don't want to say on my own. I always had a martial arts teacher with, like, Jamie Webster was my coach. And then, I always had great training partners around me, but I never had a Brazilian jiu-jitsu coach standing over me every day, telling me to do this, do this, do this. I had access to Eddie or Herzog, Alder, all those great guys, but I never had them, hey, Brandon, you should put your hand here, or, crazy stuff with them. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell you guys a story about my very first competition that I ever did. So I believe this was 2007. I could be wrong about that, but it was in the gi. I know, 10th Planet guy doing gi competitions, but there I was. So this was not what we would, I think of as a regular grappling tournament, regular jiu-jitsu tournament. It was a grappling tournament. But around here back then, like, all the schools did grappling and sparring tournaments and stuff like that. And we would get together and, so like the Japanese jiu-jitsu school would come, the judo school would come, our Tong Soo Do school would come, a little MMA school would come to the tournament. And so we would just all kind of hodgepodge together and just pick a rule set and go with it. So it was pretty cool in that way, but there wasn't a ton of, like, big-time jiu-jitsu players, like strict Brazilian jiu-jitsu players. So I entered this tournament, and I won my first match. My first match, I got a submission with an omoplata, which is madness, right? And we'll talk about that maybe some other time, because that's a pretty funny story too. But my second match, I did not get a submission with an omoplata. I almost crapped my pants, all right? So I had this old school white Adidas gi, right? So Adidas used to be, in the gi game. And I was doing okay. I was fighting a dude who was actually from a BJJ school. He was a blue belt. And I was doing okay, man. Like, I was ahead on points. I was on top. I just bull rushed him and got the takedown. And he caught me in a triangle choke. Now, I had not been training very long. And so, like, my go-to triangle defense at that time was freak out and try to yank my head out because I didn't know what to do. I mean, I knew what a triangle was, but I had no idea how to get out of one. And so let's also keep in mind, when I started jiu-jitsu, I didn't have the healthiest approach to life. I was a big boy. I was a little overweight. And I didn't know about, like, all the bad things that can happen to you from the nerves of a tournament. And so I get caught in this triangle, man, and I'm struggling, and my whole face is turning red. I'm sure of it, and I don't know what to do. Luckily, the guy I'm in there with, he doesn't really know how to finish a triangle very well, and it happened. I'm stuck in this triangle. I'm freaking out. I'm trying to yank out of the spot. And, man, I was 100%. No question about it. I have just crapped in my pants in front of all these people watching this tournament. And in this tournament, there's only one match going on at a time. We don't have, like, multiple matches, so everybody's just waiting on sitting on the sidelines watching the matches, waiting on their turn. So I'm standing above this guy, my butt poked back in the air. He's got my head yanked down. He's trying to kill me. and I just knew it. I took a doo-doo in my britches. And I had to gather myself in this moment and go, all right, Brandon, you crapped your pants. You did it. You doo-dooed in this white gi. Are you the kind of man who's going to quit for some doo-doo? And I answered the question to myself, no, you're going to keep trying to freak out and rip out of this thing. You've already crapped. You already got some brown streaks going down your gi britches. You might as well go ahead and try to survive. Don't tap to that. Make this guy kill you. And so I didn't really get out of the triangle. He just kind of exhausted himself and gave up, and he beat me on points. And as soon as the match is over, they raise his hand, and in my heart, I just know. And so I'm clenching my butt cheeks together super hard, and I duck walk back to the bathroom, barefooted, of course, because I'm too stupid to know any better. And I'm like, oh my God. I didn't, of course, crap my pants. How? I don't know. I think the hand of God was directly involved, and he just kind of shoved the turd back up inside me at the last second. But I was certain of it. I crapped my britches. And I came back out and won one more match, and I got second place in the gi in my first tournament in a match. The second match, I was certain that I had doo-dooed. So, there you go. There's your story from the old days. I don't know why I felt compelled to tell you guys that, but it's a very important insight into the heart and mind of your favorite redneck jiu-jitsu master. All right, guys, that's it. I don't think I should plug my website after that story, unless you guys want to see some freak-out jiu-jitsu triangle defense when bowel movements are involuntary. So, all right. You guys, thank you. I really appreciate you listening to the podcast, and I'll catch you tomorrow